Attention all medical professionals. MedX Prime is here to help you recover 30 to 40% of your previously lost medical insurance billing revenue. Yes indeed, we are specially trained and equipped to help you recover most of the revenue that you thought you had lost forever due to rejected or denied medical insurance claims. You see, in reality, many of your medical insurance claims are often denied for a wide variety of reasons unrelated to the actual professional care you have provided to your patients. Your response to this reality is probably something like this: then what is really going on behind the scenes in this regard, and what can we do about it, if anything, to minimize the insurance company's ability to arbitrarily deny, disclaim or delay your claims payments? Well, in short, you can authorize MedX Prime to fully and quickly investigate all such billing issues without charge. In just a few days, MedX Prime will provide you with a comprehensive written report explaining everything. We know the medical insurance billings game very well and are fully aware of the many tactics and internal procedural policies the insurance companies employ to deny, disclaim and delay their payments to you. In just a few days, we will produce and deliver to you our incredible financial wow report that clearly reveals what has been happening in this regard. We call it the wow report because that is often what our customers say when they receive theirs. Wow, this is amazing. Indeed, MedX Prime's financial forensics team will analyze your books and provide you with a comprehensive free report within just a few days of obtaining your authorization to do so. Please listen to the following comprehensive video describing what typically happens at many medical insurance billing claims centers in this regard. Thereafter, please call Mr. Terry L. Cook at 509-688-5325 to schedule a free audit appointment. Again, his direct phone number is 509-688-5325. Please call Mr. Terry L. Cook today to schedule your free, no obligation, financial audit report.
Why is it so hard for doctors to get paid by insurance companies? What really happens to your health insurance claims? We asked the experts to shed light on this issue. Here is what they had to say.
Money. The more they deny, it's money in their pocket. You know, the less they have to pay, the more money they make.
This is just my experience being in this for now 12 years, is that I think insurance companies have found a way to not pay us. And instead they use these tactics or stall tactics to keep the money more in their pockets than in ours.
We do a service. We don't get paid for that service up front. We send in a claim. The claim goes to the insurance company. The insurance company is supposed to process it and pay us. They don't in a timely manner, so we have to go after the money, which means I have to have extra staff to be on call at all times to go after the claims and to get the money. Sometimes that's 6 months to a year later. So all of that is time delay, money delay, and it is administrative costs for us to hire extra employees just to go after the amount of money that we're due from our original contract.
As a little guy, the insurance companies don't want to negotiate with you because, well, they can lose 3 or 4 doctors if you're a small independent practice. They can afford to lose you out of their network. It's not until you get into big business where you get 60, 70 physicians that they would lose as a provider throughout the whole geographical area. Are they willing to sit down and start negotiating?
The major large insurance companies, they just don't care about the providers anymore. They want us in their network and they want to get us in there to pay us a lesser amount of rate, but they don't really care. If we keep our contracts and don't fight for reimbursements to be higher to cover our overhead costs, they'll let us walk. We're all at that mercy of the insurance company.
Let's say, for example, we submit claim gets paid, and then a year or so later, we get what is known as a take-back from the insurance company. So that means that for some reason that patient may not have been eligible at the time of service, and so now retrospectively the insurance companies find out that the patient is not insured. So then they take the money back from the provider. Can you imagine how that must feel? It's like me saying, come to work, I want you to work, do your job, and I may or may not pay you.
Where else in America can you go and get services without it being expected to pay? You cannot go get your car fixed and drive off, with your car without paying for that bill.
But the baby's coming for us. regardless, somebody has to deliver that baby.
They're constantly calling and asking you to send more information that was probably already on the claim in the first place, and then usually you have to refax it at least twice before they actually get the message. So it's very frustrating for our girls. They have stacks of things that they've done more than one time. One of the bigger insurance carriers around has several call centers. Some are in South America and some are in India. And it's true that the people do speak English, but it seems like there's some kind of a gap between what we're telling them and what they're able to understand as far as concepts of insurance billing. And they read quite a bit from a script. You call in and you present a problem to them, and if the answer's not right in their script, they can't help you.
Our representatives for the insurance companies, they can't really do anything. You know, we call them, we report to them, we tell them our problems, we go over everything that's wrong. They take it back to the office and we'll turn it in. They turn it in and it sits there. And there's nothing more they can do but do another call like we do to them. We call them, they call their headquarters. The headquarters says we're behind, we're several months behind. There's always an excuse. Always the insurance companies make the providers look like the bad guys because they want to keep the members happy.
We weren't able to keep up with the newer things, and so those now are behind because we were working so hard to get paid on the old things. So it just seems like it's a vicious cycle and you never catch up.
There have been times where I've missed a paycheck. I've worked for 2 weeks and didn't get paid, because the insurance companies are just playing these games and the money is not coming through the door.
One of our doctors never did get paid for surgery he did on a child, and the reason was they thought they were going to have to amputate the child's leg. And the doctor did a very long, very involved surgery and was able to save the leg. But he didn't get paid for it because we pre-certed an amputation, and that's not fair. It's not fair to the patient whose leg was saved. It's not fair to the doctor who spent all that time doing it.
I wish that the public would know what physicians go through. And not only physicians, but the practices as a whole.
Because I think it's about time that the physicians have a voice out there. We're saving lives and we're bringing life into the world. And I think they should be compensated accordingly.
I think that the government needs to step up and make the insurance companies more accountable for what they tell us when we call and spend our resources to check on patients' insurance, that information needs to be accurate so that we can give services accordingly to their benefit structure.
I think we're under way more stress than needs to be, considering we're in healthcare. We're supposed to be healthy people.
Although a significant portion of a doctor's office staff deals strictly with processing insurance claims, doctors can get caught in the rat race to get paid as well. Let's listen to the doctor's perspective.
As they say, they signed a release with the devil. I mean, the government just turns a blind eye. You know, whatever insurance companies want to do, they get away with.
Health insurance companies do this to try to save a buck. That's the only thing I can come up with. In the process, they're making my life miserable. You know, our staff, my office manager, you know, the people that work for us that are trying to navigate these waters. It's extremely common when I book a surgery, I have to spend time talking about the surgery with the patient, but then they have to spend a lot of time with my manager being explained or being educated on how they'll have to pay their part of the copay or the coinsurance or the deductible. And then my manager or my staff has to turn around and spend a lot of time with the insurance company trying to explain why the surgery is necessary, why, you know, what I've done already to work up to the decision to do surgery. And then in the end, they sometimes still don't pay. And so it just becomes a big rigmarole or just a rat race to try to get paid.
Insurance companies, the way they're treating the physicians, they're making them become more involved in the business of medicine as opposed to just the practice of medicine. And the business of medicine is beginning to overshadow now the care of the patient. And that's a shame because the patient should come first.
You know, our reimbursements just keep going down, 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 but you know, our office staff still need to get raises. The cost of all of our supplies continues to go up. The cost of gas and bread and milk, those things keep going up, but we keep getting paid less and less. But I know it needs to change before we're really in a true crisis, because I think we're heading that way if things don't change.
If you think about it, the insurance companies have a huge lobby, and they can get laws passed, and they can influence let's say, healthcare reform legislation where an individual doctor really has no influence on that. I don't fund campaigns the way they do.
And then the other thing is the timely filing. The insurance companies can pay you whenever they want to, whenever they feel like it, even though they have this timely filing law in Missouri, and they're supposed to pay you interest if they get a clean claim. But the definition of a clean claim is up to them. So if they don't consider it clean, then they can, keep from paying you for months. But if you don't get your claim to them within 90 days, they can just say, 91st day, timely filing, I don't have to pay you. I mean, the patient comes to you with a complaint, you're supposed to send the patient home, get prior authorization, then have her continue having the complaint and the problem, and then bring her back when the insurance company wants to get around to it to say, oh yeah, it's okay for you to do it. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's like we're all, I guess, going to have to go to the CEO's house and camp out to get our health care in the future because there's not going to be any doctors. Medicine is the only business where we have no control over our dollars. Everybody else has controls. First, it was the malpractice that was putting doctors out of business several years ago. Well, now it's the health insurance that's putting doctors out of business. But it all comes down to the same. It's an insurance company that's putting doctors out of business.
A third of our staff is in the billing department because they have to fight these battles all the time. So we're set up for it. If they didn't do these things, would we be able to provide more efficient care for our patients? Yes. And we wouldn't probably have to have the staff that we have right now.
The doctors are closing offices because they can't pay their staff or they can't pay their bills. Yet the CEOs of these insurance companies are getting multi-million-dollar bonuses, okay? Not salaries, bonuses. So that's on top of their salary. And everybody else is closing up shop. Unless their laws are changed, they're still going to be able to deny payment. So they'll keep all the money, the patients will be out of their premium dollars, the doctors won't get reimbursed, the hospitals won't get reimbursed, the prescriptions won't get covered, but the insurances will be sitting like fat cats making even more money.
I guess if there's politicians out there and people that can make a difference, if they can hear from people like us that are in the trenches that are doing this day in and day out, again, from my standpoint as a physician to the office staff and the managers, if they can hear our frustrations just to try to get paid for what we do, and if they can try to enact maybe strict laws or penalties or mandates with insurance companies to change how they're able to function as a business. It just doesn't even make sense to me how they can function as businesses the way they treat their clients or their customers.
The problem is we're going to have to go to a national health care where people take a number because the number of doctors are going to be minimal, or all the doctors are going to be working in a clinic, or all going to be working for the government, and patients may or may not get the care they need in a timely fashion. And unless the government does something to get on the insurance companies to make them do the right thing, I feel sorry for the future of healthcare in America.
You may wonder what the insurance companies have to say about these issues. What prompts insurance company employees to deny claims? To get their perspective, we spoke with a former employee of a health insurance company.
For 13 years, I worked at Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And at Epic, I was, nickname Queen of Denials. My official title was Pen Claim Analysis. Basically, I denied claims all day long. Well, actually, I was handed the report on Monday. And on that report were actually all the claims that I was to deny for that week. And then I would just go in and I would start denying claim after claim. 150. And if I didn't do 150 on one day, let's say I only did 75, then I better make sure I did 100 and whatever the next day. But ultimately, by the end of the week, I had to have averaged 150 claims a day denied. If I was really on good behavior, they let me pay Medicare claims on Friday, but that was like a really extra bonus if I was really super good. It was not people with health issues, it was all business and dollars. That's all it is. We would pay for the oxygen concentrator, the machine for the oxygen, but then we would deny the oxygen for letter of medical necessity. Absurd stuff like that. A 42-year-old man has a heart attack. During the day, deny for accident details to see if they can say it was work-related. You know, that one I absolutely refused to deny. I had to somewhat sleep at night. You know, I'm like, I am not sending his wife this denial. Just can't do it. What they did with that claim, I don't know, because I never wanted to go back and look. I don't know if they had somebody else do it or what, but in my heart, I just couldn't, I just didn't want to know. Actually, I was next in line to lose my job because I was not denying enough claims, and there was a girl who actually could deny a lot faster than I could. So it was kind of migrating to her. My job now is, now I fight the insurance company, the people, you know, now I've just flipped chairs. Everybody wants you to do everything online. Well, you go online and you pull their benefits, but then when you get paid, it doesn't match what you pulled online, but that's because they haven't updated their computer system. So as a provider, you're really in the dark because you really don't know what you're dealing with. Oh, well, you get, because then I have blood pressure issues because of all of it, you know? So I can, sitting here talking about it makes my blood pressure go up because it makes me so angry that they do this. I'm going to say more than half of our claims, we have to do some sort of appeal, some sort of follow-up. I guess if you want to put a positive spin on the insurance companies, the physician's office are having to hire more people to try to fight them, you know. So if there is a positive, that's the only thing I can come up with, is that there's probably a few more people employed because of the battles you have to fight to get what's owed to you. Not enough people know that they have the right to fight the insurance companies and their decisions. They have a right to form an appeal. And if that appeal doesn't work, then file a second appeal. You know, just keep fighting. And a lot of people, they don't know that. They don't even know how to begin the appeal process. So they just accept it, and ultimately they pay their bills. The insurance companies are just going to get bigger and bigger, and the poor patients and the public, they're going to suffer more and more. I mean, the insurance companies are already ruling, telling doctors how they can treat their patients. And working on both sides of it, you know, I can really identify where the problems are, and it's really not the physicians, it's basically the insurance companies. They've got to be reined back in.
Is this theft? How many lawsuits have been won by providers, and yet insurance companies still play these games? Let's hear from legal experts.
I'm Stefan Glinius, and I am a lawyer. I've been in practice approximately 40 years, and over the course of my practice have represented healthcare providers and patients and insurance companies. And over that period of time, I've handled many matters that involved inadequate or late payment of healthcare providers' bills. It's important to be mindful of the fact that a federal judge, has specifically concluded that healthcare insurance claims and payment procedures have become extremely complicated and have regularly resulted in reducing or denying claims without good cause. In my opinion, insurance companies are operated by good business people who are focused on making more money. Healthcare providers, on the other hand, are focused on making people better, solving their illnesses, not on making more money. As a result, healthcare providers' priorities have worked against their ability to deal with healthcare insurers on an equal footing. Healthcare providers simply do not have the financial ability to individually compel healthcare insurers to properly pay them and deal with their very complicated claims and payment procedures. Because they can't do it individually, healthcare providers are going to have to recognize that they need to unite the political reality of life requires marshaling significant economic resources to successfully secure legislative change. Certainly, there's been significant damage to the public image of all healthcare providers as a result of the very few healthcare providers who have been covered in the media for their fraud in making claims, insurance fraud. Those examples have reinforced the apparent public good that is served by insurers' efforts to hold healthcare costs down. In fact, ERISA, the federal law that establishes a standardized means of dealing with and administering health care and benefit plans, such as retirement plans, that law provides for this standardized system of administration, which has limited relief to health care providers and patients for problems with proper claims payments. States' laws that are intended to improve or provide relief to healthcare providers are called prompt pay laws. Unfortunately, those prompt pay laws have been found to be preempted by ERISA, so that the relief that those states' laws would provide is pretty much unavailable where ERISA applies to the circumstances. In a recent case against United Healthcare of the Midwest that our firm handled, we have an example that healthcare providers can win when they refuse to be victims of improper insurer claims and payment practices. Judge Stephen Limbaugh, a senior U.S. District Judge, now retired, specifically found in that case that United Healthcare was wanton in its behavior. Wanton is a very, very strong conclusion and statement to be made by a U.S. federal judge against a party. It reflects essentially that they are not providing sufficient care for people who can be victimized by their practices. In being wanton, they continuously processed claims improperly, at times owing as much as up to $600,000 in past due fees for the services of just one orthopedic surgeon. Judge Limbaugh found that it was within United Healthcare's power to remedy these errors, but chose not to. He specifically made that statement, they chose not to. As a result, he also provided the extraordinary relief that the doctors in our case were entitled to have their attorney's fees paid. And the purpose of that was not just to reimburse the doctors for the expense of the litigation, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but he also did it specifically to incentivize all insurers to provide proper claims and payment procedures so that we would not see a repeat of the problem that we had in that case.
As you just heard, healthcare providers can go up against the big insurers and win. There is substantial precedent for action. But how can providers make a stand for themselves? How can disconnected, unorganized doctors do anything to push back against a well-oiled machine with practically unlimited money for lobbying and affecting public policy? In fact, a group of physicians in hospitals and other providers worked together to pass a stronger prompt pay bill in the state of Missouri in 2010. Progress has been made, but more needs to be done. Legislators, patients, employers, in fact, most people have no idea healthcare providers are struggling. We must make them aware. We must join together to face these issues. If we don't act, costs will continue to go up. So now, let me ask you, is this the way you want health insurance companies to deal with claims?
Was that not a very eye-opening study of how medical insurance companies handle and process your insurance payment requests? Accordingly, MedX Prime is here to help you recover that very elusive 30 to 40% of your previously lost medical insurance billings. Yes, indeed, We can help you recover most of the revenue you thought you had lost forever due to rejected or denied medical insurance claims. Time is of the essence and you must act quickly. Therefore, please call MedX Prime's certified national agent, Terry L. Cook, today for your free, no obligation, financial audit and detailed accounts receivables financial report. Yes, call Mr. Terry L. Cook now at 509-688-5325. Once again, don't delay, call Mr. Cook today, at 509-688-5325.